4 minutes just to get out of this first cave. And now I'm just sitting here wasting a bunch of ammo that I don't need to waste. What are you getting more nitro for? You don't need it. Okay, what am I doing? Really? Looking back on this run and seeing all the potential time saved makes me wish I could go back and redo it. Ever since uploading my reaction to my first deep dive speedrun last year, the thought of redoing Bedazzled interest ran wild in my mind for months. The things that I would do differently, the routing, the execution, the build. So many what ifs coming together to form the basis of a new strategy. But what then? How can I even revisit an old deep dive? New dives are generated once a week, but that's the problem. Only new dives are generated. It's just impossible. At least in vanilla DRG it is. A few times in my DRG speedrunning career, I was required to use a mod for certain runs. Seeded speedruns. In a seeded speedrun, you're given a seed that can be put into the mod, and it will generate the same cave every single time. It was then I realized that this mod is the key to revisiting Bedazzled interest. This mod is Mission Selector. With Mission Selector, I can generate any deep dive I want with any seed I can think of. The possibilities are practically endless, and with a click of a button, I am free from the bounds of the current dives. But one fact became extremely apparent when I brought up the mod menu to find Bedazzled interest. I don't know the seed. But hope is not lost. I can think of a couple ways to find the seed. One is a method of madness, brute forcing seeds ranging from single digits to numbers in the billions. And then, if that wasn't insane enough, test all the negative numbers down to the billions. Or I can just look it up in the raw footage of my speedrun. The seed is displayed in the lower left corner of the pause screen, so surely I paused somewhere in my run, right? Well, I did pause at the beginning, but I did not have the deep dive selected, so the seed in the bottom left is not right. Okay, so what about the rest of the video? No. And I found... Nope. Nothing. Nope. I even looked to YouTube for the seed, but the best I could find was this. So I delved into madness. I probably checked at least 100 seeds in a fool's errand, hoping for some kind of hint or to detect some kind of mathematical pattern or formula that links a seed to a biome. Nothing. It came up empty. I did, however, find the seed for the first deep dive of Season 4, Spineless Letdown, So that was pretty neat. But I digress. Going through seeds one by one wasn't going to work. Despite this, I wasn't going to give up just yet. I had one last idea to try. A hunch, really. I decided to check the mission selector page on mod.io. I was prepared to be disappointed. But I struck gold. On January 12th, 2023, user Ganondorf had posted a comment with a link to a spreadsheet containing the seeds of past deep dives. I clicked the link, and upon seeing the sheet, I remembered a line that I said in my reaction video. Last year in April, on the week of the 14th, I couldn't believe it. I finally found it. Even the pause screen displayed the right mission type and mutator for stage 1. I had finally come full circle to the deep dive that started it all. Now there's only one more step to take to finish the search. Four minutes just to get out of this first cave. And now I'm just sitting here wasting a bunch of ammo that I don't need to waste. And just shoot the guy. Wow. But it wasn't the same.
Welcome to the deep dive, miners. Your 2 objectives are ready. Get to work when you'll be heading down deeper in no time.
As soon as those pod doors opened, I knew something wasn't right. Somehow, the cave was completely different. There was no glow tree welcome, no open dirt wall, no massive canyon to get stuck in for 4 minutes. The cave had no semblance of its original generation from 2 years ago. So then, I wondered how different the rest of the deep dive could be. How different the escort mission could be. However different they are, the objectives should remain the same, like the first stage, right? I was half right? A refinery mission. What? Why is stage 2 a refinery instead of a dozer escort? The secondary objective remained the same, but why did the primary mission type change? I wanted to know. So I dug deep. Any changes to the deep dives would mean that there were changes to the game, and changes to the game are documented in patch notes. Bedazzled Interest was the penultimate deep dive of Season 1, so the change must have happened sometime between then and the recent maintenance updates. The one major change I can think of involving deep dives in that time frame was in Season 3, which added industrial sabotage to the mission pool for deep dives. However, I don't think it was simply sabotage's addition to deep dives that changed this escort into a refinery. I think it was rather due to a change in deep dive mission probabilities that occurred several weeks after Season 3 started. And the patch notes mentioning that change were posted on February 23rd in 2023. So my thinking is this. If the deep dive before these patch notes is different from what I remember of it, and the deep dive of the day of these patch notes is the same as I remember it, then this update must be the reason why Stage 2 of Bedazzled Interest is now a refinery. Using the timestamp and Ganondorf's spreadsheet, I can find the seeds for the deep dives I'm looking for and check them through Mission Selector. Putting in the seeds one after the other gives the deep dives Tainted Jewel and Useless Overlook. Now, I do remember Tainted Jewel for the most part. I specifically remember whipping out a game of solitaire in Stage 2 because I had nothing better to do. But comparing my old recording with the Tainted Jewel of today shows some glaring discrepancies. Except for Stage 3. Somehow even the cave generation remained the same here, and I don't know why that is. Useless Overlook, on the other hand, I don't have an old recording for. What I do have is an archive of my speedrun splits, where I jot down the deep dive code names, the biomes, and the objectives for each stage. And what I found with Mission Selector matches my records. And my memory. My guess as to why then the first stage of Bedazzled Interest hasn't changed is because the probability of a Morkite primary was unaffected, or unchanged. This also seems to be the case for Stage 3. Stage 3 has some elements from the original Bedazzled Interest, like the exploding plants and the dreadnought still being a hive guard. But now it's a haunted cave with stingtails. Great. Other than the cave being different, there's not much else to say here. I'm not sure what to think about these changes. Looking through the new Bedazzled Interest was like meeting a friend I don't recognize. It seems that the Bedazzled Interest that I knew now only exists as an obscure search term. So then, how low can I go this time? Sandbox Utilities is a mod with many functionalities, and it can be very useful in preparing for a deep dive speedrun. The free camera feature is very helpful in routing, mental mapping, and exploring the caves. Now that I know what the missions are, I'll take a closer look at the caves using Sandbox Utilities. The general strategy for Morkite missions is to quickly get Molly to the last cave with as few stops as possible. Judging by the twists and turns of this cave, taking her through the tunnels would be too slow. Instead, I'll be looking to make shortcuts with Rocky Mountain beer in specific areas of the cave. The next step I'll take is counting Morkite and figuring out which veins are best to mine from. Now, I've already counted them all for this stage and the next, so I'll just show Morkite totals per cave here. My routing grabs the 48 vein in the second cave, all the Morkite that is in the third cave, and the rest in the last cave. The first mini-mule I'll fix after mining out all the Morkite in the third cave, and the last mini-mule I'll fix with the last 60 Morkite in hand. Both mules will give me enough nitra for one resupply, so I don't have to worry about nitra in this run. When all is done in Stage 1, I'll make my way back through the shortcuts and clip into the pod. Stage 2 drops the pod in the middle of the cave, and the refinery drops down in a large pocket elevated above the wells. Though this height is too high for a single pipe length. I could string along the pipes to a break in the bridge and get them to the wells that way, but then that would make too many pipe nodes to set up. Instead, I'll use Rocky Mountain Buff to make a tunnel and a small ledge to help two of the pipes down. The morkite veins I'm interested in are the two above this well, and this one by this well. A good beginner strat would be to first collect all the morkite and then set up pipes. But I'll take it one step further by interspersing morkite collecting with pipe setups. The refinery process takes a total of 150 seconds, uninterrupted. This timer stops every time the pipes leak. There's nothing I can do to make it faster, but hope for good RNG and to be ready. For stage 3, I'll need to use an aggressive strategy if I want to stay ahead of the ghost. I'll have to be flexible though, since where the ghost spawns in the drop cave is random. For the dread fight, I can explode the sentinels with the plants and attempt to one-cycle the hive guard with embedded detonators and then rush the eggs. Then I can call the drop pod and clip into it through the drill. Last year, I made a couple build suggestions near the end of my reaction video featuring the M1000. But since those builds were meant for the past Bedazzled interest, I'll need to make an update. I'll be taking the minimal clips and embedded detonators build speccing damage for the M1000, and ammo and blow-through for the Zukovs. For perks, I'll be using Born Ready, Deep Pockets, Veteran Depositor, Berserker, and Iron Will. I also said last year Bedazzled interest could be done in less than 20 minutes. That'll be my goal this time around. I don't think it will be easy though. The ghost can easily shut down this speedrun, and there isn't much I can do about it. What I can do is stick with the strategy and do my best.
Let's go!
Objective completed. Good work.
It was just a Nehru.
And just in the first run, I beat my 20-minute estimate and cut my original 2-year-old time of 38:14 by more than half. An 18:40 is pretty good for a start. 2 years ago, I couldn't have even dreamed of a first run like that. Now there are some pretty major issues with this run that I can improve on, and I aim to do that. My minimum time estimate last year was 17 minutes, and I want to beat even that. And yes, there'll be another montage. Starting now. I've probably done 30-something runs and changed strategies a few times to experiment. Whether it was a change in build or a change in routing, each new run was a cage match with RNG, rising frustrations, and my own human error. But I pulled through and reached my goals, and even found more time to save. A 15:21 isn't the lowest time I can possibly go, but it's a time that I am okay moving on from. Deep dives of the far past now only exist by their code name. I understand that I won't ever be able to truly reclaim my first deep dive speedrun, or any of my early speedruns for that matter. Because the game has changed since then.
If only we could abort mission.
And so have I. 811! Oh my god. Thank you for watching. So about halfway through putting this script together, I realized I could have easily found the seed for Bedazzled interest if I had just checked the pinned messages in the deep dive discussion channel on the Deep Rock Discord. So, yeah.